The multi-million-dollar race machines of the Offshore Pro Tour are set to do battle on the Gulf of Mexico. This part of the Gulf is known for flat water and record-setting speeds, and the OPT fleet is ready to make its mark in the offshore history book in the fast waters off of Sarasota, Florida. From ESPN, it's the Offshore Professional Tour. The Florida Keys and Key West present the 1992 Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Drever, along with Mark Spencer, an associate editor of Powerboat Magazine. We're getting set for what's going to be a terrific race. It is hot here under the Florida sunshine. That is one thing for sure. The story of this race, the overall victory, perhaps, to Joe Mock, if he can keep the dirty laundry boat together.
Brian, I don't think there's any question whether the water's smooth or the water's rough. This is Joe Mock's race to win or lose. The dirty laundry, they've clearly got the speed on the fleet. However, brand new boat. They've had problems in the first two races of the season. Crew Chief Harold Smitty Smith, he thinks he's got all the bugs ironed out. If he does, you very well may see a world record performance today from the dirty laundry team.
But Mark, Joe and Smitty aren't the only ones out there on the water in Super Bowl. They're not going to be able to just walk away.
Russ Wilkin and Tony Caligiuri in the Powerboat Marine. Very consistent, very steady. They've also got a lot of speed. And also keep an eye on the new big V-bottom out of the Wellcraft camp. They set a speed record on Friday, 116 miles an hour. That's moving in a V-bottom.
Well, now, if the Superboat division is really everybody looking at one guy, in the open class, it's wide open.
Shell Roki, he's won the first two races of the season, but it hasn't come easy for the Norseman. Yeah, he's had a lot of tough competition. Look for Stuart Hayham and Joey Imprescia in the recovery boat to give them a run for their money. Also, Ugo Colombo and Jeff Sofer in the Budweiser. They got a very fast Cougar Cat. John and J.D. D'Elia, they've set some speed records here in Sarasota. They're back.
So we've got some proven winners and some newcomers yet to go. We're getting set for a fantastic race. But first, let's take a look at the course. Here's our senior correspondent, Jim Hendrick.
Thanks, Brian. The weather's been a little wild this weekend, and many of the crews were expecting rough conditions. However, the winds have dropped to 5 knots, and the water is laid down. Now, this Sarasota racecourse has been the site of many an offshore speed record, and with a 1 to 3 foot chop out there today, it's just about enough to break the boats free of the service, and we could see some records broken. The fleet will start off Longboat and Lido Keys at the mouth of New Pass. From the starting line, it's a sprint across to Siesta Key and checkpoint number 3. The boats follow the coastline and negotiate checkpoints 4 and 5, and then continue southeast to checkpoint number 6 at Point O'Rocks. Here is where navigation comes into play. Once around checkpoint number 6 is off the beach and into the Gulf of Mexico, northwest all the way to checkpoint number 7. Then it's on to checkpoint number 8 back along the shoreline of Longboat Key, once again through the starting line, but this time the fleet races in and along Lido Beach and checkpoints 1 and 2, providing spectators with a spectacular view of the action. From checkpoints number 2, it's back around the course with a finish at New Pass, completing a lap of 19 miles. Each class must make 8 laps to complete today's 152-mile race.
And one of the most interesting parts of this race course, the fact that they will make left and right turns, and 2 of those turns almost U-turns at each end of the course. Now, we're going to drop the green flag in just a couple of minutes, so stay with us. This telecast of the 1992 Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix is sponsored by the Florida Keys and Key West. Now is the time to just let go in the Keys. By the Suncoast Offshore Racing Association and their many sponsors for the benefit of the Sarasota community and Special Olympics. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. With that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud. We're set for the start of the 1992 Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix, but before we get started, let's take a look at the field. Mark Spencer.
Competitive field of superboats, dirty laundry, the class of the field, Joe Mock and Harold Smitty Smith. Carrying the colors for the Cobra Power team, Jack Clark and John Armstrong. A big Scarab Thunder, Ron Hicks and Gus Anastasi. The points leader, Powerboat Marine, Russ Wilkin and Tony Caligieri. Apache Kid, Alan Feingold and Dan Campbell on the throttles. This boat's been repowered with C&G Marine engines. In excess, Ted Savarese, Trace Martin. They're running number 2 in the points.
And here they are out in the open water. Norval Staley at the wheel of the Everglades Marina pace boat. He is the one that will give them the starting signal. And these guys are poised and ready. Look at them running side by side, just waiting for that green flag, Mark.
2 cats, 4 V-bottoms lined up side by side. Here we go. We're ready for the start.
And as they run out into the open water southbound, you can look out into the open ocean. They'll be coming back the other way out there in the open water. And the green flag waving in the pace boat. There's Russ Wilkin inside with the onboard camera looking right in his face.
Conditions are tight here at the start. The boats are running very close together. The drivers have got to kind of look to the starboard, look to the port, make sure they've got a lane to run in that's safe. Dirty Laundry goes right to the lead. No surprise, Brian.
Well, Smitty Smith puts the hammer down with almost 4,000 horsepower to draw from. He runs right away from the field early on. This big red boat, nobody has seen it run to its potential yet because they have failed to finish a single race so far this season.
This could be Dirty Laundry's day. Conditions are ideal for that big coup. Harold Smitty Smith and Joe Mock, they would like to put a win on the board here in Sarasota. It's been frustrating for them so far this season.
The Apache Kid driver Alan Feingold pulled Dan Campbell in to go on the gas sticks. He knows a lot about those engines while his own Cobra Power name is being run on another boat.
Great matchup in the Super V-Bottom class, Brian, today. 2 big Apache V-Bottoms and a brand new Wellcraft Scarab Thunder. These guys are going to be players right off the bat. They're serious.
We were very happy with the way the boat performed. It was, we were after Reggie's record and we got him.
What's the key? What's the magic?
Bobby Moore. Bobby rigged the boat for us and he did a magnificent job. And Wellcraft support and Mercury Marine, Mercury 1000s.
On Friday, Brian, before the start of this big race weekend, they had some kilo trials, and this Wellcraft Scarab laid down 116 mile an hour average speed, the fastest time ever recorded for a V-bottom. They're going to make things interesting today against those 2 big Apaches.
Yeah, but that was all alone against the clock, and this is open racing and hull-to-hull action out here. Here's Dirty Laundry still pouring on the coals, heading back northbound. You can see the skyline of Sarasota in the background. Joe Mock at the wheel, Smitty Smith on the throttles, and I mean on the throttles.
Brian, I can tell you right now, we will not be seeing any world record speeds here today in Sarasota. The water is glass smooth. You can almost see the reflection of the Dirty Laundry in the water. However, we've got some big, long, rolling swells, and what happens is the drivers set up for smooth water. They put the tabs up, the drives out as they trim for flat water. However, every time they hit one of those swells, these boats start acting like airplanes.
Not only that, but there are so many turns on this course, that's going to slow them down, and the 2 turns at either end, north and south, are almost dead stop U-turns. No record speeds here today. I got to agree with you on that. For Dirty Laundry, though, this has been an ongoing R&D project.
Well, I don't think you ever get the bugs ironed out of a race boat, and if you do, then you're not doing your homework and not trying to go faster. Bugs are always there. If they're not there, you need to do some more homework and stretch the string a little bit tighter, because the tighter the string goes, the more often it breaks. But that's also where it comes from speed-wise.
Well, for Dirty Laundry, in the first race at Cocoa Beach, it was steering problems. Then they lost, of all things, the O-ring out of an oil filter, literally a 10-cent part that shut down a $500,000 boat. Here we are on board of Russ Wilkins' Powerboat Marine, looking into the wake of Dirty Laundry.
Russ Wilkins knows that he does not have the speed to run with Dirty Laundry in a flat-out speed war. What he wants to do, keep the pressure on Harold Smitty Smith. Let him know he's there. Keep a presence and hope that the Dirty Laundry has problems.
The back end of that boat is where the problems have been, but right now it's all go for Dirty Laundry, showing the way to the Powerboat Marine craft with Russ Wilkin at the wheel. We're going to show you open class action in just a few minutes. That start is getting ready to go. Welcome back to the Offshore Professional Tour in sunny Sarasota, Florida. The super boats are well out into the water, but the open class, and it's a big one, getting ready to start. Let's take a look at the field.
Heavy Metal, Anthony Izzo and Rick Conti, one of the 8 open class twin-engine catamarans. The Budweiser, Ugo Colombo and Jeff Soper. A lot of speed in this Cougar Cat. Hyperactive, Tom Slomeka and Dave Cutler. The Recovery, Stuart Hayen, he's back behind the wheel. Joey Impressions on the throttles. And from the United Arab Emirates, the Victory Team. They got a lot of toys here in Sarasota. Edward Kalya and Kaleem Harid.
Cigarette Lady, piloted by Anna Dalva, the only female driver in the open class, one of 3 in the fleet. Mark Beaver driving this one. He's from St. Pete nearby. And Seguro Katami on the gas sticks. The Victory Team, you're right, a lot of toys. Here's another boat for them with Hamid Baliba at the wheel. Special edition, father and son team, the Delias from Connecticut, all the way down here in Florida. And Spirit of Norway, Shell Roki and Jim Dyke, they've had their way in the open class so far. The Executioner, a new boat, Dick Ornstein and Alan Fuentes, first time we've seen them. And Ohio Steel, an identical boat, powered by a great couple of guys, John Rebb and Reggie Fountain in there. Here's the open class start, and once again, Norval Staley at the wheel of the pace boats. The Everglades Marina boat gets the job of starting these guys off. The race hasn't even started yet, and Shell Roki is already a busy man.
There are no pre-assigned lanes in offshore racing. The drivers just jockey for position. Right now, Shell's trying to find a lane to run in. A lot of fast cats and a lot of fast V-bottoms as he picks his way through the fleet.
He's trying to find some place to ride, water all around him. He's talking to his throttle man, Jim Dyke, over there, trying to tell him, hey, get us, look, here's the water coming in over the roof. He's splashed in, and the race hasn't even gotten underway. They're getting ready to drop the flag. The pace boat is the one out in front, just out of the picture. Now the green flag goes, and you can see the hammers go down, and these boats, 6 of them in the picture right here, off and running.
A great shot as the 2 V-bottoms, the Executioner, Ohio Steel, try to keep pace with those 2 fast cats out in front. Joey Impressia and Stuart Hayham on the recovery go right to the lead. But as they look in their starboard mirror, what do they see? John and J.D. DeLea in the special edition. They have been out of offshore competition for over a year, but they're back.
And here we are on board the Spirit of Norway, looking in the rearview mirrors, and now at the outside of this boat. These guys have really done the job in past weeks, but they've got a lot more competition this time around, notably the special edition boat. These fellas have won before.
Shell Roki took a saltwater bath right there at the beginning of the race, Brian. He's kind of cleaning things off as he and Jim Dyke get their sea legs, try to establish themselves. These are the speed of the fleet. Shell Roki and Jim Dyke, they've won both of the first 2 races of the season in convincing fashion, but right now they find themselves nestled in 4th place.
Well, for these 2 guys, dependability is the key, and they have been most dependable.
Of course, when you look in the rearview mirror, depending how close it is or close he is, that can decide how much excitement there's going to be. But of course, I like them to see them in the rearview mirror, and hopefully we can do that today as well.
Well, Shell Roki used to seeing everybody in the rearview mirror and not used to running in anybody's wake except maybe a super boat.
The Victory Team, they've come here to Sarasota each of the last 3 years. These guys take their boat racing serious in the Middle East. What they've done, Brian, is they got the molds from Peter Gledden at the Skater Boat Company up in Michigan, and they've modified these boats to their own specifications. They've stretched the boats a little bit, made them a little bit wider so they could trap a little bit more air, but essentially these are Douglas skaters as they pull up right alongside the Budweiser, Jeff Sofer and Ugo Colombo in an English-built catamaran, a Cougar.
The Blue Victory boat really giving them a run for their money. Ugo Colombo very fast in that Budweiser boat, and here's one out of the race already. Tom Slavecka and Dave Cutler dead in the water. The race hasn't even started yet.
Tough break for the Hyperactive team. We got a real mixed bag here today in the open class. We've got boats that were built in Dubai, the United States and England, and in the engine compartment are also an interesting matchup, Brian. Merc Cruiser, Sterling, Keith Eichert, they're all here. They're all ready to roll.
You got a lot of competition. If anything, we're down a little bit on power now, you know, updated motors, but although they have a little bigger boat. So it might weigh itself out, but it's going to be a lot of competition. It should be good racing.
A lot of competition. You can add to that list Merlin, Innovation, a lot of power plants running in the water out here today, not the least of which is this special edition boat welcoming them back. But the one they're all worried about is Spirit of Norway, even take no prisoners, Joey Impressia.
Shell's turned out to be more of a formidable opponent than I realized. Jim Dyke and there's got a lot of experience, and Shell Roki is allowing him to run the boat to whatever it takes and as fast as he needs to go to win the race. And I've underestimated him in that respect.
Well, he's also underestimated special edition as father and son John and J.D. DeLea take the lead away from Joey Impressia and Stuart Hayham in recovery.
The special edition, a 30-foot Jaguar Cat, a little narrower tunnel on this boat. They trap a little bit of air. They love the smooth water. As we go inside the cockpit of the Spirit of Norway, you can see down in the lower right-hand corner of your screen the needle indicators on the tabs. They got the drives out, the tabs up. They're ready to run.
Well, run after the 2 leaders, and here they come. Shell Roque and Jim Dyke. I think Jim finally got the kink out of his elbow, found the bottom of the floor for those throttles, and look at them go.
A 3-way battle for the open class lead. Recovery, Spirit of Norway, and Special Edition.
Here we are inside. Once again, the Spirit of Norway. Shell looking a little happier now. Takes some time to wipe his nose. He found the lane he wants to run in, and that's where there's nobody out in front.
You know, Brian, these long swells that we're seeing this morning actually may be a blessing in disguise, because in the smooth water, the boats have a tendency to run flat out all the time. That can be devastating on the engines. However, every time they grab a little air, they get off the throttles, it gives the engines a chance to breathe. That may make the difference between winning and losing.
Here's the look that Russ Wilkins has at the Dirty Laundry boat out in front. There's the wake, and you can see we're looking down on Russ Wilkins and Powerboat Marine. There is Dirty Laundry, but they have gone completely off course. He is headed for St. Petersburg. He has completely missed the north checkpoint, and Joe Mock is in big trouble here, extending this course, not something he wanted to do. And Powerboat Marine, they find the turn and start to head towards the beach here at the north end of the course, and this is an inherited piece of good luck as Joe Mock is gone over the horizon.
How do you do? No question about it. Tony Caligieri and Russ Wilkins do not have the speed to run with Dirty Laundry. However, offshore racing, it's a game of strategy. You gotta find those checkpoints out there. Right now, Powerboat Marine is doing that job. Dirty Laundry is not.
Well, Russ Wilkins has the boat turned around, headed back along the beach southbound, and there is no Joe Mock out in front. Joe had been leading by 2 minutes, and now Russ Wilkins is looking for him. He's going, hey, wait a minute, he was there a second ago. What happened? What happened is he's not there anymore. And now the Superboat leader is Russ Wilkins and Tony Caligieri in the Powerboat Marine. Not the way they might have wanted to take the lead, but I believe you, they will take it any way they can get it. And in the open class, Spirit of Norway, you saw him make the pass over Special Edition and Recovery. Victory Team running for it. Powerboat Marine with nothing but open water out in front. They are the overall leader, but we're going to come back in a minute. Take a look at the V-bottom battle that's shaping up behind them. The crowd loving the racing here in Sarasota. Russ Wilkins loving the fact he's the new leader.
Two completely different weapons here in the Super Cat race. The Powerboat Marine, a twin-engine 40-foot skater. The reason he runs in the Superboat class is he is supercharged. Russ Wilkins is banking on the fact that he can get the job done with dependability.
I think we've been very fortunate to stay together, and I think, like the sport's always been, it's going to be the dependability of the products. And Mercury has done a wonderful job for us, and hopefully it'll turn out to be what we need for the rest of the season.
A little bit of luck doesn't hurt either for Russ Wilkins.
Hey, if you can't do it with brute horsepower, you got to do it with brain power. Russ Wilkins had a decision to make. Do I play follow the leader? That's the instinctive thing to do. Or do I trust my own compass headings? That's giving him the lead.
Ted Savarese and Trace Martin following the leader. They are first in the V-hull class, second in Superboat overall right now. And these guys have the hammer down. They're just starting to learn about offshore racing, but they're learning fast.
Being new to the sport, I don't know a lot about it, but I know to get points you got to finish, and that's basically been our strategy. We sort of lay back and let the race unfold, and of course the first race was reasonably rough water. The second race, of course, was pretty calm. But I think that'll be our strategy again today. There's 3 cats. There's a new V that ran 116 miles an hour, which is definitely faster than us. And the Apache Kid has repowered his boat totally. So I assume we're the slowest boat in the race. We're going to have to play this by ear.
Well, if they're the slowest boat in the race, they're not much slower. Here they are running side by side with Apache Kid, Alan Feingold, Dan Campbell on the throttles here. And these two guys have got a heck of a race going.
Dan Campbell has seen the peaks and valleys already in 1992, and we're only 2 races into the season. At the season opener, the Space Coast Offshore Challenge, Dan won in big water, posting his first Superboat victory ever. But then Brian at the second race in Marathon, Florida, in pre-event testing, a devastating crash.
He went out the day before the race looking for a little more speed, and what he found was not what he wanted. This is the scene as the emergency crews are extracting the crew. Dan came out virtually unhurt. One of his crewmen was, and now he's trying to put his program back together.
The only change we're going to make, instead of, say, 15 minutes there, we're going to put another 10 minutes, 25 minutes, just in case be out somewhere and get trapped upside down on a sandbar and can't get out. So it gives us 25 minutes for him to flip the boat and get us out of there.
But rather than speed, Dan Campbell now looking for a little more safety equipment in his boat. Right now, though, his job is to throttle for Apache Kid. And here comes Dirty Laundry. Look at this guy go. Joe Mock has finally found his navigation object, and he is heading southbound, passing boats like they're backing up, but he's in trouble.
Problems in the Dirty Laundry camp. You can see as the Apache Kid makes a tight turn, Dirty Laundry's got to swing real wide. And as you watch the rooster tail coming off the back of the boat, it looks to me, Brian, like they've got a steering problem. It's back.
Well, Russ Wilkins running straight ahead out here for his life doesn't know that Joe Mock's having steering problems. All he knows is that he's coming. And if this was a straight ahead drag race, Russ Wilkins would be in trouble. But in fact, it's Joe Mock that's having the problems. In the open class, no problem once again for Spirit of Norway. Shell Roki and Jim Dyke, that's where they want to be. That's where they're used to running out front.
Shell Roki and Jim Dyke have not had a battle on their hands this season quite like the one they have here in Sarasota. Special edition. Every time they look in their rearview mirror, they see them.
They're not used to seeing this boat because it's making its appearance for the first time in 1992. And you might say that objects in mirror are closer than they appear. John and J.D. D'Elia coming on strong, and this is something that Shell Roki is not used to seeing, going by him like he's backing up.
This will be our third lead change if Special Edition can get the job done, and we're only 3 laps into this race.
These two boats now going deck to deck, and this is what drivers like. They like to see the racing action. They're going about 95, maybe close to 100 miles an hour on the straightaway, and that is even faster than Russ Wilkins in the Superboat.
You gotta wonder what Jim Dyke and Shell Roki are talking about inside the Spirit of Norway. Is this a strategy move? Did they decide to let Special Edition take the lead? Or do John and J.D. D'Elia simply have a speed advantage?
One of the few left turns in the checkpoint as they head just a little bit closer to the beach in Sarasota for the crowd to get a good look at them. Spirit of Norway, and look at this, here comes the victory boat. Not one, but maybe two, gonna go right by Shell Roki and Jim Dyke. This blue boat is flying.
This is a brand new boat out of the United Arab Emirates. Randy Sism's on the throttle. They've been running the victory team here in Sarasota. They make the trek across the ocean every time for the last 3 years. They're very familiar with these waters. They got a lot of speed. They came prepared.
They have come prepared indeed and doing a fine job. Shell Roki's not going to give up, though. He takes an inside line there and is going to delay what might be the inevitable. That is the victory boat going past him, too. Here once again is the rear view mirror. They're not in the mirror. They're about to disappear behind it as they go out in front, too, now to take second place. Shell Roki moves back to third.
You can throw a blanket around the 3 leaders in the open class Special Edition, Victory, and Spirit of Norway, and also running a very close fourth right now, Brian, Stuart Ham in the recovery as the victory team makes their move into the lead. Our 4th lead change here in Sarasota.
The victory team coming from the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, and these guys have a lot of money behind their program. It is very well funded. Randy Sism is the American advisor to them.
They're very, very competitive. Their driving skills are top notch, and when it comes to racing, they love it. I mean, they really do enjoy it.
And here they are once again heading north. Special Edition running hard. The boats very, very close together as they round this near U-turn. And we can see out in front there is the victory boat. Shell Roki has made an inside pass to move back into second place, moving the D'Elia father and son team to third.
Brian, I love it. This is offshore racing at its absolute best. We got 5 boats in the open class. Any one of those 5 could win. The victory team laying down lap speeds close to 94 miles an hour as they start to reel in the superboat leader.
Does it get any better than this? You bet. And we'll be back with a special story to boot. Stay with us. Welcome back to sunny Sarasota, Florida. Brian Drever along with Mark Spencer and Jim Hendrick. We're looking at the victory team out in front and could be on their way to victory. The way these guys are running, almost 95 miles an hour. And the only boat in front of them is the superboat and overall leader, Russ Wilkins, in Powerboat Marine. Here's the battle for 4th place behind the 2 boats that are out there in 2nd and 3rd, Spirit of Norway and Special Edition. Here is Stuart Ham in recovery. He is being passed by yet another blue boat from the United Arab Emirates.
Stuart Ham and Joey Impress have been the bridesmaid all year long. Stuart has a brand new boat on order. He feels he's got the horsepower to run with the leaders. However, he thinks his boat's a little bit heavy. He wants to take some of the weight out as a new boat should be ready within the next couple of races.
Since Stuart Hayham arrived on the OPT scene, he and his open class craft, the Recovery, have been formidable opponents. In OPT's very first race, the 1990 San Francisco Battle of the Seas, Hayham and throttleman Joey Imprescia let the offshore world know they were for real with the open class victory in their debut appearance. But excelling is nothing new for the New York native. Hayham operates a successful carpet manufacturer and import business in Hempstead, New York. As with most all offshore racers, Hayham spends part of his day keeping in shape to compete. But in 1979, he was faced with his most serious challenge, diagnosed with cancer. With the love and support of his friends and family, today Hayham is a living example there's a chance to beat the disease.
The whole recovery project, in a word or in a phrase, is to show people that it doesn't have to be true. I'm sitting here. It's 13 and a half years later. The flip side of that, as you know, is my father died 10 days ago from it. And what the boat really is a loud, almost living example to show people that you can be sick and can be better, can get better. It's not necessarily a guarantee, but it can happen.
The Recovery offshore race team is exactly that. With Stuart behind the wheel and his trusted friend Joey Imprescia at the throttles, Joey plays a large role in the success of the Recovery team, one that as owner, Stuart is quick to appreciate.
He wants to take care of every detail. He wants me to sort of arrive, put on my helmet and jacket, win the race and go home. And I think that's the pride that he takes in his job. He wants to be responsible for everything from A to Z, and he therefore wants credit when it works.
Stuart Hayham is a true success story, a genuine dedication to hard work and an open, honest approach to life. There's another key that can separate the best from the rest.
An obvious answer would be hard work, but perhaps a secondary answer would be to always assume that the other guy has better equipment, to always assume that the other boat is running faster, and never stop, never ever stop, not only your efforts, but to intensify your efforts to have a better product yourself. The race never ends.
And for Stuart Hayham, he is in a race. He couldn't wait to get behind the wheel of his boat. He was kept out for the first 2 races of the season due to circumstances beyond his control. Now he can't wait for a new boat to get in that one.
Ryan, this race here in Sarasota, its main purpose to raise money for the handicapped kids in the area. But for Stuart Hayham, it's more than just that. His dad passed away 10 days ago, and etched on the transom of the Recovery is this line: "You won the race for our love."
We've focused a lot on the action among 5 tunnel boats up front, but behind them, these 2 identically prepared Fountain V hulls are really locked in a battle. Reggie Fountain on the throttles of the yellow Ohio Steel, John Revin driving, and they are chasing the Executioner, which is an identical boat. What a battle.
Well, we're confident we can always be the fastest out there, particularly that Merc Cruiser power back there pushing us. It makes it kind of easy. We just put as much power in as we need to go as fast as we need to go. That boat will run it.
Wow, what a race between these 2 boats, really getting the job done out there. You know, this event is the premier offshore race in the United States. 4 races in 3 days. They had kilo speed runs, a local offshore challenge, another race, and this one, the OPT Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix, capping it all off.
Ohio Steel goes in the lead in the V-bottom class. Reggie Fountain likes the position up front, but here's what he really wants, Brian. He wants to go and eclipse that distance between him and the superboats. He wants a piece of that Wellcraft Scarab Thunder.
Here at checkpoint number 8, Cigarette Lady Anna Dalva not having a good day. She's running a V-hull machine as well, and well off the pace of the 2 boats fighting it out up front. Cigarette Lady trying to make up some ground, but it doesn't look good. And here's another boat that doesn't sound so good. Ugo Colombo and Jeff Sofer have had their bad luck in races so far this season, and once again, we're hearing some popping in the engines, and these guys just aren't running like they should be.
Speaking of trouble, Brian, it's official. Dirty Laundry out of the race the 3rd time in a row. Harold Smitty Smith and Joe Mock couldn't get the job done.
Well, attrition continuing to take its toll. 2 boats out of the superboat class, 3 in open class, and not the least of which is Dirty Laundry. We still haven't seen that boat run like it can. Here's the Victory team out in front in the open class, chasing Russ Wilkin, the superboat leader. The open class started 4 or 5 minutes behind the superboats, but these guys are making up ground. And they're running hard, trying to take the overall lead. When we come back, we're going to take a look at Pro 1 as well. This portion of the 1992 Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix is sponsored by Kenwood, Marine, Land Mobile, and Amateur Radios. You're always in touch with Kenwood Communications. Looking out over a huge spectator fleet here in sunny Sarasota, Florida. And this is not just about Superboat and Open Class. There's a lot more. And for that, we go to our senior correspondent, Jim Hendrick.
While it's true that some consider the Pro 1 division in OPT offshore racing a proving ground, make no mistake that while competitors like Rick Felsen, Mark and Dana Weigel, or Bill Westbury are busy honing their skills, they are also 100% serious about the business of offshore racing. OPT Pro 1 boats are powered exclusively with outboard engines. Actually, for the power they pack and the 100-plus mile-an-hour speeds they're capable of, pound for pound, a Pro 1 offshore race boat is one of the fastest and most efficient racing hulls in the world. In addition, as the results at most offshore races reveal, outboard Pro 1 boats are considerably more reliable than the highly modified multi-inboard powered Superboat and Open classes. Because the boats are lighter, shorter, and most of the weight is shifted aft, outboard engines put all the weight squarely on the transom. Pro 1 boats tend to fly more than their inboard counterparts, particularly in rough water. Now, drivers and throttlemen in today's Pro 1 competition walk a fine line between maximum performance and all-out disaster. Because the boats and engines are so evenly matched in Pro 1, the keys to victory can be found in the engine setup, propeller combination, and, most importantly, in the cockpit itself. Many competitors who've moved up through the ranks of OPT offshore racing consider the time they've spent in the grassroots divisions not only their most educational, but also their most challenging and demanding.
These boats may give away a little bit in top speed, but they give away nothing in hull-to-hull action. Here's Spirit of Houston closest to the camera, fighting for the lead in that Pro 1 class. One of the guys out there trying to get some of his money back, he put up some prizes, is Rick Felsen of High Risk.
This race will really show you some tough competition. You've got 10 outboards out there. That's 30 Mercury motors running, and all the boats are basically identical, and they've got to be minutes or seconds apart.
That's what racing is all about. It doesn't really matter how fast you're going. It's that deck-to-deck stuff that all the drivers like.
Well, that's why I've been in pro stock for 4 years, and I love the competition. To me, it's probably the most competitive class, and now that we have prize money, wait to see how the competition increases.
Rick Felsen throttling High Risk on the far side. Might have felt his wallet get just a little bit lighter as Ocean Outboard goes by to take the lead. And Spirit of Houston tagging along not far behind. And his terrific action here in the Pro 1 class. Ocean Outboard with Mark Mahalik out in front. Pro 2, yet another class on the water out here today. And Victory Team, that name just keeps coming right up. They are also running a boat in the Pro 2 class and running hard.
Pro 2, a little different than Pro 1 in that you have some twin-engine catamarans. You also have some inboard, outboard-powered V-bottoms and some outboard-powered V-bottoms. Brian, this is kind of a run-what-you-brung division.
And that's why it attracts so many competitors. Once again, we bring it up. It doesn't matter how fast you're going. As long as you're racing with somebody out there, and in the Pro 2 class, you can guarantee you're going to get a race. Great action all the way down the line. And whoa, look at this one. The Pepsi boat coming right in the living room at you here. These guys having some trouble. Now they're going to have to make a U-turn and get back on course, Mark.
Brian, I think it's important to note that the Pro 1 and Pro 2 boats race on the exact same race course as the Super and Open boats. They face the same swells, the same challenges. They just don't run quite as many laps.
And when you're running a V-hull boat, sometimes the knife edge of that boat just takes a wrong turn on you. Back to the action, the overall and Superboat leader, Russ Wilkin in Powerboat Marine, running out in front. That's where he's been for quite a while. He's got open water in front of him, looking calm, cool, collected, relaxed. But take a peek over his right shoulder. There is the Open class leader, Victory Team. The Dubai boat is coming up on him, and he doesn't even know it.
Russ Wilkin has had things his way all afternoon. Tony Caligieri has throttled back. They're running just a tick under 85 miles an hour. It's pretty obvious they're going to let the Open boats catch them and even go into the lead. They want the Superboat win. They want to put some more points in the bank towards that national championship.
Well, you couldn't see it there, but I bet Russ Wilkin is biting his lip. His game plan was to run out front in Superboat. Now an Open class boat has gone by him. He doesn't want to race with them because they're in a different class. But this man is a racer, and just like a thoroughbred, when someone pulls up in your peripheral vision, you want to go after him. Russ Wilkin now probably put word over to Tony. Okay, Tony, let's go get him. And it's Tony's job to say, now, wait a minute, hold on, boss. We're leading the race.
When the final results page is printed, Brian, nobody makes note of where you finished on the race course. They just know if you won or lost.
You don't like to see the Open boats go by you, but
You know, from my years of experience, we're racing super boats, and if we're in the lead or if we're in maintaining a position, and there's open boats that are going to catch us and pass us, we're not going to race them. You know, at the end of the race, you say, well, the open boats beat you, but you're not racing open boats.
Fact is, there's not that much difference between the boat that just passed him and Russ Wilkins' Powerboat Marine. They're both 40-foot skaters. Russ running supercharged engines, about 2,000 horsepower. The Victory team running unsupercharged engines, normally aspirated at about 1,600 camel power.
Camel power, Brian? The Spirit of Norway gets ready to blow by Powerboat Marine. Jim Dyke, who throttled Powerboat Marine last year, switched camps during the offseason. He's now with Shell Roki, and this is sweet for him. Cody Caligiuri says, hey, wait a second. Maybe I'm not going to let you get by so fast. Powerboat Marine goes back into second overall.
The race for second overall between the Superboat leader, Russ Wilkin, and the Powerboat Marine on the far side. Spirit of Norway, Shell Roki, Jim Dyke. These two guys chasing the Victory team. Hamid Bouhaliba and Randy Sism out in front in the open class and overall. The Victory team, in fact, with two boats in the top 5, overall and in class. Running better than 93 miles an hour. It's easy to see. They're 10 miles an hour faster than the Superboats. That's why they're out in front. Victory team, is victory in the cards for them here in the Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix? We will see in just a moment. Stay with us. There's that and more when we come back. Welcome back to Sarasota as the Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix continues. Already the Victory team and Spirit of Norway have passed Russ Wilkins and the Powerboat Marine. Now Special Edition with John and J.D. D'Elia. They become the third boat in the open class to go past the Superboat leader.
Special Edition has been in mothballs for over a year. No one expected this kind of a performance out of John and J.D. D'Elia. They're only 15 seconds behind Spirit of Norway and Victory. This one's going to go right down to the checkered flag.
We'll get right back to this, but right now let's go for a quick report to Jim Hendrick.
Here in Sarasota, this event is much more than just a boat race. It's an 8-day festival that the whole community is involved in. They love their offshore racing here in Sarasota, and the sport has returned the favor for the past 8 years by helping the community raise money for many good causes.
Thanks, Jim. Sarasota, Florida has always enjoyed a reputation for being one of this country's most popular vacation destinations. Today, however, it's not only the powdery white sand that attracts crowds at the Gulf Coast beaches, but the thunder of offshore competition. Considered by many offshore teams to be the premier U.S. race site, the Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix is offshore racing at its very best. Race fans are treated to a week-long festival of events that allow them to get an up-close look at these powerful boats, as well as a chance to meet the drivers. What sets Sarasota apart from other race sites?
I think the thing that works so well for us in Sarasota is the fact we have total community involvement from the county to the city to all of our many, many sponsors. Plus, we have, on a given day, as many as 1,500 volunteers working to put on all these events. And the town just gets behind it, and that's why we consider ourselves probably the 500 of offshore. And I think we've proven that with the 140-plus race boat teams that are here this weekend participating.
With race proceeds benefiting the Suncoast Foundation for Handicapped Children and Special Olympics, these powerful offshore race giants are racing not only for the checkered flag, but for some very, very special kids, Brian.
And what a treat they are getting here. Great action out on the water with the Superboat leader, Russ Wilkin, and Powerboat Marine. Behind him, Apache Kid running in second spot. They are locked in a V-hull battle with In Excess. And the key for these guys, too, is just trying to hold it together. That's what Russ Wilkin is thinking, and so is Alan Feingold.
You never know whether it's a $50,000 engine that blows up or a little tie wrap for 39 cents that comes off. The idea is to be there at the end, and you can always do well.
Being there at the end, that's what it's all about. First you got to finish, then you can think about winning. Right now, in the V-hull battle, it is Apache Kid over In Excess at this point. They are running second and third in Superboat class respectively, and first and second in the V-hull class. Running third in V-hull is the Wellcraft boat, the Scarab. They got some loose parts hanging off the back there, Mark.
The trim rail is busted free on the Thunder Scarab, just showing you just how rough the water is here in Sarasota. Gus Anastasi and Ron Hicks, they got a handful.
Well, the open class got a battle going on. The Victory team out in front, Spirit of Norway, Shell Roki and Jim Dyke, not about to give up, even though they're trailing by a handful of seconds here, and you can see a couple of 100 yards on the water. They're going hammer down.
We're in lap 6 of an 8-lap race, and it's been 1, 2, 3 like this for the last 3 laps. Victory, Spirit of Norway, and Special Edition. You know, Brian, you got to admire what these guys on the Victory team have done. It's not easy to operate a race team out of the United Arab Emirates. First of all, you can't just go down to the local parts store and get replacement parts. The second problem you've got is in the past, they always had to import their boats. To solve that problem, they made a set of molds off of a Douglas Skater, made some changes in the boat. They now manufacture their own hulls. They want to move their operation so it's self-contained right in the Middle East.
Well, they've practically imported their whole inventory to this race. They're running 2 boats in the top 5 overall, so whatever they're doing right, including leading this race. Here's Stuart Ham in recovery, chasing the second of the Victory boats. This is the smaller of the 2, running 4th and 5th overall right now in the competition.
Brian, this picture hasn't changed for 3 laps. 1 minute, it's Recovery in 4th, then it's Victory, then it's Recovery, then it's Victory. They've just been going back and forth. These boats, let's face it, they're running identical speeds.
Moving back a little bit further in 6th and 7th place overall is another competition going on between 2 identical Fountain boats. Reggie Fountain and John Rebin in the yellow Ohio Steel. And look at them, they're going past the Scarab boat. Now this is a twin-engine 40-footer going past a 3-engine 45, and the Fountain boat taking the Wellcraft boat on the water. They fight each other all year long in the showrooms. This has got to be extra sweet for Reggie Fountain.
Fists are flying inside the Ohio Steel. Reggie Fountain is loving this. For him to be able to make up the 4-minute head start that Wellcraft had in the Superboat class with his open boat is a real accomplishment. Alan Fuentes in the Executioner also works by the Scarab Thunder. Fountain running 1-2 in the V-bottom class.
Alan Fuentes in the red Executioner boat's got to be wondering maybe whether Reggie Fountain really sold him an identically prepared boat or not. But I think, Mark, as we look into the cockpit, we might have unraveled the secret here. There are only 2 men in the Ohio Steel boat, 3 men in the Executioner boat, and that couple of 100 pounds just might be the difference because it's not much.
Ryan, from that up close and personal look in the cockpit of Ohio Steel, we go high and wide, take a good look at this race course as Budweiser, Hugo Colombo, and Jeff Sofer show us just how rough those swells continue to be. And if you listen closely in the engine room of Budweiser, the engines are not hitting on all 8.
Those engines haven't sounded right all day, and the way they're running, they aren't running right. And here is a big development. The 3rd place boat, Special Edition, John and J.D. D'Elia. John standing up in the cockpit, waving around. We see J.D. there in the left cockpit. Look at him, he's hunched over with a towel on his back. He had a tough race the day before. It's hot out here, and it looks like we have a human breakdown rather than a mechanical one. The Victory team, they have done everything right, continuing to run just under 95 miles an hour. It's a 2-boat race, and whether these guys can win it, well, I'm sure that Shell Roki and Spirit of Norway will have something to say. We'll be back. Welcome back to Sarasota Superboat. We'll update you right here. Here is the leader in the Superboat division, even though he has fallen back. Well, now inherited 3rd place overall. Russ Wilkin, Tony Caligiuri, they throttled back. They're only running about 82 miles an hour right now because they've got the Superboat win in hand. Behind them, Apache Kid fighting with In Excess for 2nd and 3rd in Superboat, and Apache Kid getting the best of it. Looks like they're going to go on for the V-Boat victory in Superboat class. Here is NXS running in 3rd. Ted Savarese and Trace Martin not having the best of days. They got a weak-sounding engine. One of the 3 is not doing the job for him out there. And in the open class, well, Victory, the team from Dubai, United Arab Emirates, running still at 94 miles an hour, just under. They are obviously the fastest boat on the water here today, if not by design, at least by intention. Spirit of Norway, they're pushing them hard, and Shell Roki not one to give up in a race of any kind.
If Shell Roki and Jim Dyke have anything left, now's the time to play their cards. We're down to the final 2 laps. Stuart Ham and Joey Imprescia, they're running in 3rd.
Now Stuart Ham taking over 3rd spot because of the retirement there of Special Edition. Here's Ohio Steel, John Rebin and Reggie Fountain. It's just fun time for these 2 guys right now because they're running on a boat that's just like their own behind them, the Executioner. But in the cockpit of the Executioner on the right side of the boat there, Rick Cullen, the navigator, he has been injured. We hear from race control that he is just a passenger in the boat. He's bobbling around in there and just trying to get to the finish. The crew has decided to keep on racing even though they've got a man beat up in that boat.
In the Pro 1 competition, 8 boats started the race. 6 are going to finish. It's been tough all afternoon. The win's going to go to Mark Mahalik out of Tucson, Arizona. John Engel out of Seminole, Florida is on the throttles. A big win, their first of the season. Ocean Outboards, average just a tick under 75. Victory second, Spirit of Houston third, and High Risk. In Pro 2, the Victory team, the third boat, 67 miles an hour. Imagine that, Pepsi Express. Let's go down to Brian, who's with the winners of the Pro 1.
A good, tight race out there, and I guess as a driver, that's what you want.
Yeah, I felt like I was in a stock car a couple times today. It was almost some bumping in a couple of the corners, and it was tough. There was a lot of competition in our class today.
John, I got to ask you, not exactly a smooth day. You were probably a little bit busy out there, too.
Oh, definitely. I was on the rough leg of the course. I was trying to save the equipment, and Spirit of Houston was always coming up right alongside of us in the rough stuff, and he closed the doors on us on the one turn, got in front of us, and washed us down. I mean, we had to go through the rooster tail, and after that I said, I'll never let him go through another corner in front of us again, and we didn't.
A big win here in Sarasota catapults Ocean Outboards to the top of the national points race in Pro 1.
And to the victor goes the spoils. Well, the pro classes are done, but we have yet to finish up the Superboat and the Open class. Stay with us. A tight race all day long in the Open class, but here in Sarasota, it looks like Victory Team is going on to victory.
Brian, the battle's over, and we've got some answers to our questions. The fact is, Shell Roque and Jim Dyke just didn't have what it took to catch up to this Victory Team. A big win for Randy Sissom.
And Stuart Hayham drives home in third spot. John Revin and Reggie Fountain getting the edge over the Executioner in the V-Hull class. And here is the Superboat leader. Russ Wilkins, almost a wire-to-wire victory. For him, the lead started when Joe Mock went off course. From that point on, it was all Powerboat Marine.
Mr. Consistency continues on his march to the national championship. Powerboat Marine notches their second win in a row. Apache Kid in second, In Excess in third. Let's go down to Brian in the pits with the winner of the Open class.
Randy, a first race for you and your team, but you can't do it any better than this. First in class, first overall.
Well, we're real excited. A little tired, but real excited. They got a great bunch of guys here racing, and they sure made us work for it.
All right, Hamad, any problems?
No problem.
You had quite a battle going there with Shell Roque and Jim Dyke for a while. You were 15, 20 seconds ahead of them. Then you just took over everybody.
Those guys are real competitive. They were running like a champ. We just, as we lightened up on fuel, we picked up speed and we were able to pull away, and we saw the Superboat and said, we got to make a move. We got to try and get it all.
Even though he finished second, Spirit of Norway, Shell Roque remains in the lead. However, Recovery, Budweiser, Ohio Steel, and Intrepid, they're right on his tail. It's going to go down to the final race of the season, I'm sure, in the Open Boat class. In the Superboat division, let's go down to Brian, who's with the winner.
Russ, champagne corks are popping all over the place. This is going to be another sweet one for you.
Well, I need to say an extra thanks to Tony, who kept everything under control today, and Mercury Marine. Everything worked flawlessly today.
You were running out front for a while, then it looked like you had your class one, you backed off a little bit. Is that the way it went?
Well, there's no prize that I know of for us beating open boats. So we're out here to win Superboat, and that was our goal when we went out, and due to some luck, why we're here.
Tony, how far under maximum were you running out there just trying to keep it together?
Well, after the error that Joe made, and thank goodness Russ was sharp enough to pick up on it, it put us in a big lead. He made my job easy. I just had to get us around the course at that point.
In the national points chase, a comfortable lead for Powerboat Marine, but where the battle really lies is in between second and third. In Excess and Apache Kid, only 30 points separate them.
Will Joe Mock be able to keep Dirty Laundry together? Will Dan Campbell come back in Cobra Power? We'll have to wait and see. For Jim Hendrick and Mark Spencer, this is Brian Drever saying so long from Sarasota. This telecast has been sponsored by the Suncoast Offshore Racing Association and their many sponsors for the benefit of the Sarasota community and Special Olympics. By Ohio Steel Sheet and Plate, your hot-rolled steel specialist with a commitment to excellence. And by Budweiser, the king of beers. With that clean, crisp, cold taste, nothing beats a Bud. This has been a production of Cypress Sports in association with ESPN. Hello, I'm Brian Drever in Sarasota, Florida. Join us later as offshore powerboats battle it out in the OPT Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix. That's coming up here on ESPN. men and machines of the Offshore Pro Tour are here in Sarasota, Florida to match themselves against the sea. I'm Brian Drever. Join us for all the exciting action of the Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix next on ESPN.